Hi. So as a dancer, this is something that I've always known and that I've always wished with all of my being that I could share with everyone. And that is how to watch dance. So I actually have 5 steps that you can follow to watch dance. First, relax. Being an audience member is stressful. We know that. So relax. Take the time, relax. Sometimes dance performances don't take place in a place that looks like a movie theater, so you might have no idea how you're supposed to behave. Like, am I supposed to sit on the pillow or next to the pillow? Or like, all the chairs are taken, so do I stand behind the people who are in chairs? Like, is it okay to go stand over there? Relax. Just do what everyone else is doing, do whatever you think is right, and you're probably not wrong. But if you are, then you're just a highly valuable piece of audience behavior data. No one is judging you personally. And the same goes with audience interaction. If you are afraid that you might be expected to participate in the performance in any way, relax, breathe. Just do what you would do in this situation. That's all you're expected to do. Anything else is the performance's responsibility. Step 2, react. Open yourself up to be engaged in the performance, to be engaged in what you're seeing, and further open yourself up to respond to what you're seeing naturally. Basically, it's okay to laugh. Like, if you're engaged in a performance and what you see you think is funny, then please laugh. Like, please laugh. A human movement is this funny thing where we're all really self-conscious about our own movements. And so unless a show is specifically labeled as a comedy, we don't want to laugh at another person's movements because we're afraid of seeming mean. Sometimes dance is funny, and it can be very awkward when you're performing and you think something's funny and you're performing it to be funny and then no one laughs. And this comes from every choreographer and dancer I've ever interacted with. We don't ever get reactions out of people because they always assume they don't understand it. Any reaction is a good reaction. So do whatever comes naturally, and even if the audience thinks you're wrong, they're the ones who are wrong. So just know that. So now that you're relaxed, now that you know it's okay to respond to what you're seeing, let's talk about ways to understand what you're seeing. So step 3 is look for the familiar. Look for familiar shapes, familiar costumes, familiar colors, familiar movements, familiar attitudes, familiar sounds, just anything that's familiar. And then ask yourself why it's familiar and what could it mean. And notice that I said could, not does. Because what you're doing when you're watching dance is you're trying to discover what this means to you. How am I interpreting this? How am I learning about myself from this? How am I learning about the world from this? You're not trying to read the choreographer's mind, you're just trying to get what you can out of the performance. So for example, let's say you see a piece where the dancer keeps bringing her hand to her face. What does that movement mean to you? Does it remind you of a specific memory, a specific time in your life? Or for another example, let's say there's a dance where there are a lot of circles. The dancers move in circles, the dancers make the shape of a circle, there's circles on the costumes, circle in the lights. What do circles mean to you? What do circles mean to you right now? What could a circle possibly mean? That brings us to step 4, relax. Again, you don't need to figure everything out. All those questions I just said for step 3, calm down, you don't have to answer all of them. Just allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to accept what you are seeing through your eyes and accept what you are hearing through your ears. And don't worry that you don't know what the dance is about. Don't worry that you can't read the choreographer's mind, because I'm going to tell you a secret right now. You can't read the choreographer's mind. So stop trying. Stop obsessing with this. Just allow yourself to see what you are seeing. Let yourself be passive for a while. But if you notice that you're starting to disengage from the work, start asking yourself a couple questions. Start noticing, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? And that brings us to what is probably the most difficult but most important step when it comes to watching dance. And that is discuss. Discuss what you've seen, discuss what you've felt, discuss the meaning that you derived from what you saw, discuss what you learned. And the easiest way to do this is to take a friend or a family member with you to the performance and then go get drinks or coffee or dessert or food or something after, depending on what time of day it is. And then talk about what you saw. Talk about what you felt. Talk about what was familiar. Talk about what you thought the dance was saying and why. And that's very important. Avoid statements like, I liked this, or I hated this, because that'll just end the conversation. You might, and probably will, start the conversation or go out to drinks or anything, feeling like you have no idea what you're gonna say. I know I always do that, always. Like, I've been dancing forever, and whenever I go see a performance and then I know we're gonna talk about it after, I never know what I'm gonna say until I start talking. But that's why these conversations are so important. That's why discussing is so important. Because it's once you start talking about what you just saw and the meaning that you derived from it, that you actually start figuring out what you just saw. If you just go watch a piece and then go home and go to bed, then that piece was just there and that's it. You might not ever think about it ever again, you might not ever learn anything from it. But if you go out with friends and you talk about it after, you'll learn so much about yourself. You'll even learn about what you just saw. You won't even realize that you saw those things until you talk about it with someone. But this is also why when you go to the performance, you don't want to stress about figuring everything out while you're still watching it, because you have time. You have this whole discussion afterwards where you can actually figure everything out and figure out what you saw and what you felt and what you thought and what it meant to you. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have friends? What if learning to watch dance is just something I want to do for myself and I don't want to force someone else to have to go through that with me if they're not as into it as me? Just take a journal and journal about it. So when you get home from the performance, or even right after the performance, when you're still there, write about what you saw. Answer all of those questions for yourself, and as you're writing, you'll make those same discoveries that you would in a discussion. So now that you know all of this, I urge you to find a dance performance in your area and go to it. Relax. I can't remember the second step. Relax, respond. Relax, respond. Relax, react. Relax, relax, react. Look for the familiar. Relax and discuss or journal. Relax, react. Relax, So, now that you know all of this, I urge you to find a dance performance in your area so that you can practice. Relax, react, look for the familiar, relax, and then discuss or journal. And if you're taking someone with you, show them this video so that they can be as prepared as you are, and so that you can be like, hey, we definitely afterward have to go get food or something, because this is an important step to our personal development as human beings. And good luck, and have fun, and support the arts. Are you kidding me? This battery's dying too?